Well, the title says it all, folks. Been a rough week for sleep. Uh, been a rough weekend for sleep. But it is pretty commonly known that at a certain point, sleep deprivation can help your your internal critique shut up, so that you can actually make decent art without having the little doubting mind tell you everything you're doing is shit. And I just gotta find my. I don't anticipate chatters, but if someone shows up, I want to be able to say hi. Oh, hello, lonely, lonely, dark world. This stream of one man talking to himself and his cat. Oh, I hid it from myself like usual. Okay. All right. As predicted, I'm going to go ahead and say hello, Wild. Now, because this is a unscripted session here, basically starting with a completely new canvas here, I just want to do some sound design, make some spooky stuff for a game that I will not talk about because, not that I'm under NDA, it's just kind of not polite to talk about some project that you could jinx. But if you're not familiar with Reason, here's a quick tour. So obviously we have a mixer here, pretty standard. This is just kind of what I preload it with. Pretty standard stuff. Got some insert effects. And I'll go over here, and this is our rack. It simulates a Euro rack. You can actually decorate the backdrops, and I have so few photographs on my machine. I wound up just using random old pictures that I had lying around from promo. So you can see, like, even this is actually that was a banner ad for a different stream I did, where I was making dark techno. Anyway, let's carry on. So let's ignore all this stuff. We're gonna go down here and make ourselves some stuff. I think out of the gate, I'm just going to start doing some FM, some frequency modulation, get some colors going. I've got some new tools here too. This is a gorgeous instrument. I'm going to throw this on here. The macro. Holy shit. Here, bleed. That's fucking loud. Sorry. Sorry. Hold on. Let me just bring that down several. Ooh. That's hot. And, yep. So, now that we've gotten the headphone warning out of the way, yes, this is a multimodal synthesizer. It has basically all the little bells and whistles you can expect for a small device like this. We can go ahead and hit the tab, flip the rack around, and you can see you have a lot of different parameters you can just sort of change on the fly, which just makes it really fun. This is the reason I like Reason. There's a certain hands-on delight you get because, I would never be able to own all these machines. I'm not a millionaire. But as you can see, you can actually do live patching and stuff like that. So, yeah, so I'm going to bring that volume down just a bit. Okay, so we clearly have a poly synth going. All right, I want to make something airy. I'm going to bring it up a couple octaves. Explore it a little bit with the filter here just to see how warm it gets. It's a nice warm filter. Yeah. I want my pitch bend range to be a lot bigger than just 2. Yeah, we're gonna do 24. That way, when you do pitch bend, you can actually go places. It's a lot of fun. All right. Now, getting on with this instrument here. So we have a central detuning device here for the main generator here. So you can just hear how that will just kind of sweep through the microtones. Very useful if you're stacking these. But as I say this, I'm realizing we can also turn on these other generators. Now, how do I flip that? Oh, that's the velocity. Okay, I got it. So when you mess with velocity, you definitely get a more character and response from pressing the buttons. Different devices will call the same features the same thing. Keyboard response. Anyway, I don't want to get too in the weeds. The whole point of these late night sessions is to actually just flow. So since there's no one here and probably no one will ever watch this, I'm just going to kind of cook for a bit and make some spooky sounds. Hopefully this is going to be loud enough. You don't want it too loud. You can always hear that detuning. All right. So now I'm going to combine. The combinator is one of Reason's best features. So basically, this just synthesizer is now housed within a master device that has been combined. And show the insert effects here. And so you have to flip it around. Now you see that we're running our input into the combinator. I'm sorry, into the macro synthesizer, which goes over to this here mixer. So there's already a submix, which makes additions really fun. And so we're going to do some of that too. I'm going to pull up another device and plug it in and make some, try to find something I haven't really used before. All right. Where was that gorgeous thing? Forgotten Clank. Ooh, auto sub. I mean, I know what an auto sub is. I don't actually need that. Ugh. Pardon me. Where was that gorgeous, gorgeous thing? You know, there's a better way of doing this. So I'll just go over to the browser. And I'm going to go ahead and close the browser because that's not what I actually wanted. And I'm going to go back over to the mixer. Make sure that my new device here is showing up under the combinator. Good, good, good. I'm just going to go ahead and just sort of route this into the synth bus just because we know that's what it's going to be. And throw on some reverb. And why does my chat? All right. Excuse me. Now, so we're getting just a little color here to make this a bit more interesting as we build on this. Back to the combinator. So we have here a very, very flexible start. And I feel like I should just go in and start throwing in some instrument devices. I believe we have a cat visiting us right now. Cat's probably going to hop in my lap. And rather than shopping for a patch, it's actually fun to just go and grab something out of the stack. The clang is cool. I mean, I can't impeach any of these devices. Shout out to Reason, formerly Propellerhead Studios. You guys do great work. I've been with this software since 2.0. We are on 13, so it has been a while. Oh, we have Blade all of a sudden? Allegedly, we have Serum. I don't think that works, though. And that's where it went. Yeah, we're going to do, as I said in the beginning, some FM work. Now, for some dumb reason, this did not pair the way I wanted it to. It is close enough. Now you can see that I have to fix this real quick because this is already in its own combinator. So what I'm going to do is come back up here. I'm going to unplug this. Excuse me, unplug that. And I'm just going to unplug that. And I'm just going to bring this here algorithm down here and just drop it in. And so now I can just run the audio output here into 3.4. So now we have two different voices. Allegedly. He says as no voices appear. That's probably because I fucking unplugged it. That's fine. I run the output back out into the mix channel. Lo and behold, we have now a multitude of sounds. So FM synthesis is a very, very tricky thing to describe. How do you describe frequency modulation? Any scientists here with their thinking caps on? I can explain it in abstract ways, like thinking about radio and thinking about how we attenuate receivers to pick up on the frequencies that sounds are delivered on. And the very idea of modulating the frequencies that occur in a signal produces these very, very interesting results. Now, if you've been a fan of just any kind of dance music, you're going to hear FM pop up a lot. You might notice it when I mean, not that you would do this, but say you were rolling and you hear this sound that's just like makes your brain tingle. More than likely, it is either a saw wave or FM. I'm going to make a bunch of FM devices right here. And as we see, they automatically chain like so, one into the other. 1, 2, 3. And they're all set to the same frequency. But we're going to change that. So I'm going to bring this one down. That's about, say, 25. 26, fine. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just making eerie music. And put that at 75. Make sure these levels are up a bit. Turn up the feedback a bit. I'm going to bring the FM amount down just for a moment. Ooh. Already a lot of character there. And so just to isolate that, I'm actually going to disable this here, the first instrument we brought up, only because I want you to be able to hear the FM doing its thing all on its own. It's so cool. So here we go. I'm just going to drop the volume off there. That's probably the easiest way. Now, watch what happens when we bring up the velocity on these different frequency channels. And then watch what happens when we bring up the frequencies. So it might evoke Grandpappy trying to tune his FM radio to get the goddamn game working. Um, that's the fun thing about synthesis is that a lot of those R2D2 sounds are just the result of electricity. So, so we've established that we've got a pretty bold, warm FM bass sound here just by using fairly square mathematical breakdowns here. So we got a 75-25 and a 0. Now I'm going to bring up the FM amount. Wow. Wow. Now, they brought that down. They brought that all the way here. Now, we can go over to this here programmer, and this is where you can really get in the weeds. And this is not something I recommend when we're trying to just experiment, but what the hell? I'm just sort of rambling. I'm going to just describe what I'm doing as I go. So, velocity. Velocity refers to the amount of push you're putting into the key when you press it, right? So I've just identified that the source of this modulation will be from the key press itself. Now, I haven't assigned it anything, but I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to do that to the FM amount offset, which is this parameter over here that we were just screwing around with. And I'm going to crank that up here. This is actually not the best keyboard to demonstrate this on, but that's why we have just track some MIDI here real fast. All right. I love atonal stuff. Ooh. And you know, you can fix it in post, but sometimes dissonance is exactly what you're looking for. And go over here. So now we see we have our MIDI tracked. And I think just due to this MIDI keyboard just having a wonky setting, you can see that the velocity on all these is really low, like barely squeaking by. So we're going to just punch these up a little bit. I'm going to go into the performance here. You can see how sloppy it is, but not bad for someone who was not listening to a metronome, I gotta say. And just hit all. Go over to this panel here and just randomly crank it up. Let's say by yeah. As we crank it up, you can see that they don't all adjust at the same time. They're kind of relative to the positions they were recorded at. And what the hell? We're going to do some cheating too. We're going to come back over here, do this algorithm, and we're going to put on a player. And I'm going to show you how you can take the fresh poo that was that performance and just sort of turn it into something musical using the power of cheating. Nothing is cheating when it comes to music production. Remember this, girls and boys. All the tools at your disposal. If you have at disposal for your tools. Okay. And we're going to go over here to the player device. We're going to go over here to scales and chords. Now, what we see here is that this playing device has just mapped itself to this synthesizer. I can literally just tell this machine to make it play in key. Now, it's not going to make it pretty necessarily, but it is an interesting tool to have handy if you say, just for like, oh, wait, I want to have this and say, oh, I don't know. Let's say F sharp. We love F sharp. Everyone loves F sharp. They call it G flat because reasons. I know that makes people so angry. And we're going to say put it in minor because minor's fun. Now, I have set this to F sharp minor. I have the chord enabled. So Now, whenever one key is discovered by this device, it will play the most correct key that I was aiming for. And then it will also play, say, a triad, or one note, or four notes, or five in the key of F sharp. Now, you must be thinking, dude, just learn music theory. Well, this is a way you can learn music theory. So let's see what happens if we, say, open up those chords a bit. Maybe open it up a little bit more so we have like an additional octave up here. And just back it up and just see what happens. All right. Like I said, it's not going to make it pretty, but it is in key. Something in key does not necessarily have to be pretty either. It's you like dissonance, people. Dissonance is our friend. But to tame those sounds down, I'm going to drop one of these off. I'm going to put in a oscillator, a good old saw wave. Set that to out. Set another saw wave. Well, that's a filter. That's fine. Another oscillator. Set that out here. Boom. Ah, suddenly. Suddenly we have something that sounds a little bit more harmonious. I almost said atonal because I'm so used to saying atonal. Anywho. As you can see, even noodling, just because it's picking out the stuff in the right key does not mean it's going to be musical. So, not something I really rely on. But if we're just trying to get muck around in the mud and you want to have something that is slightly presentable up front, this is a good way to go. And now I'm going to have fun with this here filter that I just hooked up. I'm going to take number 4, FM operator. I'm going to drop it into that filter. You see here. I take number 7 and drop it right into that filter. I didn't click. Hold up. I can do this. You know, I've done it before. All right, we'll do something even better. We'll just drop it into that. So, yeah. So, if you were, say, building a modular synthesizer in your basement because you had millions of dollars lying around and you just felt like making custom electronics your passion, you can do this type of thing. You can just patch things. Now, the only problem is, since you're dealing with electronics, you can actually fry a lot of stuff. You can burn money, literally, just because you are dealing with electronic signals. With this software, it will either work or it will not. It will say, yes, let's do that. So the experimentation is, there's no risk. All right, now I'm already tired of these kind of this commercial scale here. I'm sure. Let's get weird. Melodic minor doesn't get enough love. Throw a couple chord inversions on it. Yeah. So I have an idea already with this. I know we said we were going to do spooky music, but it ain't happening. I'm having too much fun. Sometimes you just gotta play in the mud. You just gotta make a mess. And I'll bring this macro back up here. Oh, that is hot. Oh, no ear bleed yet. It's still a little hot. Get down just a tad. Such a majestic sounding scale. You might have been able to tell that I was a drummer and not necessarily the best pianist, but that's okay. Now, one thing about this macro synth that I haven't actually gotten really into is I don't even know what they packed it with. So I'm gonna look up and see what kind of juicy stuff the good devs have supplied this synthesizer with. Doesn't look like too much. And that's all right. It's fun to shop based on vibes alone. What the heck would a mountain ghost sound like, you know? Sometimes the descriptors are very accurate. Other times it's baffling. Sounds like a ghost. Little low. Yeah. Okay, I can hear distortion in there. We should put that down. That's the pitch. Oh, that's weird. That's the pitch bend. Like a. Never seen that. Normally we're used to wheels. Wow, that's a cool, kind of bizarre patch. Let's isolate it. Yeah, let's isolate that. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off this here scale cheating device, and I'm going to also just yeah, I'm just gonna turn off the algorithm for a second. Getting back to the spook. Yeah, it doesn't help to have a really small keyboard. I'm beginning to like this patch. So let's mess with it some more. I'm going to flip this around. And we're going to see here, like we mentioned earlier, the Reason comes rigged with all of these little receivers and sends that you can just kind of monkey around with. And you don't have to worry about cables. So, yeah, that's gorgeous. It reminds me of color noise and band noise. And that is a specific sound which I'm going to recreate in just a moment. But I like the idea of taking the generator mod back here and see how it relates to the front. And we can take these sends and go send it to other places. Wow, very poetic. But what I want to do first, I want to go back over here to this combinator mixer. I'm going to take, excuse me, pull down the devices. I'm going to take a Thor, one of Reason's very workhorsey synthesizers. It's been with the program for a good long time, and it's so good that I currently can't find it. It's around here somewhere. Hold on, scrolling too fast. Layers. Maybe they changed the order. It looks like they're trying to put the new stuff further up, and that's okay. Oh, there it is. I'm just gonna simply drag this Thor. Just sort of plug it right in here. Boop. It did not do what I wanted it to do. Excuse me, Thor. That was not what I asked for. I'm going to take this Thor. I'm going to jog it on up. Jog it on up. Wait, where on earth are we? What just happened to all of that fun stuff I was just messing with? Is it just getting nuked? Am I blind already? It would seem so. Maybe. Huh. I'll puzzle about that another time. But this is also why we have why we have undo, undo. Yes. Okay. So here's this combinator. What I've decided I will do is drag that Thor and put it right where I meant to the first time. Yes, like that. There we go. So this Thor, what I'm going to do is sort of uh, build from scratch the sound that the macro was producing, the ghost sound. I mentioned it sounded like band and color noise. And I say that because I love that sound. And it's something I remember hearing in Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral at the end of that album when I was like 15. As hurt evaporates into the distance, you just hear this. It's like a white noise, but it's got color and it's got character and depth. It sounds like a vent. And I remember just sitting there on the floor being like, I want to know how he made that. So here we are. Thanks, Trent. All right. And here. So we're going to go over to the Thor. Same deal as with all synthesizers. Different designs, different names, but the same fundamentals apply. We have our oscillators. These things generate sound. We have a little convenient map here that shows. I might realize I'm pointing at the screen when I should be using the mouse. These, you can see the routes right here. So it becomes very intuitive as the signal flow is just sort of presented to you. It becomes second nature. Now, this comes preloaded with an analog oscillator, which is not what we want. We want noise. We want some more noise. All right. I'm just going to have the white noise on first, and you'll recognize this, of course. Oh, wait, but the ghost thing isn't there. Turn that off. The whitest of noise. The most boring of noise. The most vanilla. But when you attenuate it, it can be useful. So you'll notice that as it's white noise, it's just occupying a huge band of frequencies. So I think pressing different notes doesn't do anything. It's just blasting it. You can even see in the oscilloscope here. It's just, it's literally just noise. Pardon me. I am delirious from sleep debt. We've been over this. All right. So we've got the white noise here. We've got that routed into this low pass filter, which is a good start. So you can see then, as we open it up, you know that from your techno. Here comes the drop. And then suddenly, it's not very elegant, but you know what I'm talking about. So white noise has a lot of applications in dance music. So not to poo-poo it completely, but where we have the fun is with band and color. This is fun. So a little color here, a little band noise. Turn all these on. I hear that. The reason we're not hearing it is because it filters off, but what does that remind you of? Especially if I say turn off the white noise. Does that remind you of a Nine Inch Nails album? It does to me. And we're going to go over here to the envelope, the global envelope, so make sure that all the sustain in the world so we can just ride it till dawn. As you can tell, it also has a response to melodic inputs, unlike white noise, which is just occupying all the frequencies. Noise has a limited band, so it is occupying a certain band on the frequency. Now, moving right along. I'm going to turn that one up a little bit. So that's how you get that kind of ghastly sound that we were experiencing with that other patch. And that's just the character of that is so flexible. It's mesmerizing, and it can be buried under so many different timbres that you can just hide it in places, and it will give so much color and depth to, well, pretty much anything you're working on. And to prove my point, I'm going to take this noise oscillator and turn it into a multi-oscillator. I'm going to take this white noise oscillator and I'm going to turn that into an analog. So now we have our band noise sandwiched between two regular-ish standard oscillators for synth purposes. I can change the balance here so that we get more of the noise or less. Just a tad. So you can start to hear the Avicii being born. A lot of big tent commercial techno has these super saws. So you have like these massive saw waves and then a whole bunch of noise pushing it to kind of just make it carve up your brain. Not the worst thing. It's just kind of cheesy, you know, where you get these massive chords like the whole song is just. Wait, I guess it's got to be a major chord. It's a very clumsy point, but I think you know what I'm talking about. All right, really showcasing my piano skills. But what we're going to do is mess with this route a bit, and we're going to bring down the amplitude of the tone making oscillators so that the band noise is most prominent, because that's what I like. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. What just happened to my signal flow? What did I just do? Did I turn off anything? Turned off. No. Did I interrupt the signal chain? No. That's interesting. That's new. Oh, this is fun. I love it when this shit happens. It was going around just fine. Going here. This is on. This is on. That's going into the amp. This is going into a bypass filter, which is going into the chorus, which is going to this mod. And on and on and on. Oh, interessant. What did I do? Oh, well, this is how we learn. It's going to be something very obvious, I'm sure. I am pressing the key. You're seeing a signal flow. It is receiving the information. I did not. Oh, I turned off the amp on this gain knob. If you don't have amplitude on gain, don't have any volume. The cats are wrestling right now. Settle down there, tigers. All right. So I want to get back to my band sound. I'm gonna go back and throw on that noise. You know, I don't even know why I'm building this from scratch because I totally have some of these saved, but you know, just get reacquainted. Band. All right, open this filter bit. There's some delay. And now I get weird with some of the programming here. So I've got this source. I'm going to take LFO1. You know, I'd be asking, what is an LFO? Is it some band? What the fuck they're called? Yes. But a LFO is a oscillator. Just like the sound making devices oscillates and makes sounds with electricity. But what's unique about an LFO is that it's a low frequency, so it is not operating at a high enough oscillation to produce a sound. Rather, it is harvested to modulate other things. Confused yet? Don't be. Almost every synthesizer has an LFO built into it. It's one of Robert Moog's greatest gifts to humanity. I'm sure someone else invented it too, but whatever. Let's see what's going on in chat. Hey there, nobody. Nice to see you. So we're going to go over here to the LFO1. Go to this destination here. And we can pick all this random stuff. And I want to just show you how in the weeds we can get with this. Let's say, yeah, let's go to the amp envelope. No. Let's go to mixer. And mess with, ooh. Let's get even weirder. Hold on. We can have the LFO modulate the LFO's rate. I don't know how that works, but it does. Turn that up. So now this LFO over here is currently set to a sine wave. I honestly have no idea how we can even pretend to know what it's doing. All right. So I'm not hearing an audible difference. That's not a fun example. Mixer. Oh, pan. It's fun. So we see this sine wave, right? And we see the rate. We see the tempo sync. You imagine a sine wave is actually modulating the sound signal. So what it's going to do, since I assigned it to pan, is that it's going to pan between your ears. Very useful. Why go in and draw a bunch of, automation lanes in your track when you can just have a robot do it for you? This is one of the first clankers, you know? So now I can hear it. If you have headphones on, you'll be able to hear it panning quite nicely in a curve. As a rule, you don't want to do hard pans. I've never liked having something be too clutched to one side of my brain, but that's a personal choice. But what's fun about this is that since this LFO is controlling that pan, we can just go ahead and sort of crank up the rate. To the point where it's going at almost 100 hertz. So it becomes subaudible. Where this gets really fun is when you start messing with the filters. Excuse me. Have the LFO modulate the filter frequencies. And this is how Star Wars was born, ladies and gentlemen. The venerable Ben Burt, I believe he used the, was it a Prophet? One of the greatest synthesizers of all time. I forget which one it was specifically offhand that he used to make the R2D2 sounds in San Anselmo, California, but he is a pioneer. So go over here to filter 1 frequency. So that's what this filter is. This is the frequency. So here it is set at what it's set. But if I bring it all the way down, you can start to hear. Okay, so the LFO is at a very slow rate, but this is all with noise too, which is kind of buck wild. Much more pronounced when we throw some actual tones at it. We'll do. We're gonna drop off the noise thing for a second here. Crank up the res, crank up the drive, crank up this envelope. Now we're going to crank up the frequency. We're going to crank up the rate. Oh, God. So, sorry, headphone blast. I'll bring that down a bit. All right, so we have a delay on here, which I'm going to get rid of. But the point that I'm really avoiding is that I'm making eerie music. No, we're just having fun tonight, I guess. What's eerie is that I'm somehow still awake and dog tired, and allegedly am having somewhat coherent thoughts. If this makes sense, leave a comment, and subscribe to my what have you, and smash that oscillator for more exciting content such as this. All right, now we're gonna get rid of this noise and put over a wavetable again. A wavetable is basically an oscillator that has stored sounds. So this came about in the 80s. The Yamahas of the world, where they're like, we don't need to have little contraptions in there making sounds. We can just have literally a wave recorded on a table. It's not the worst thing because you have less moving parts. Serum is a wavetable synthesizer, which is, of course, very popular. So, before we get into what all of these different waveforms are, we're just going to mess around with this LFO. All right. They still have that pan going, so you should be able to hear it popping around your ears. And let's not forget, I also have this going. And now what happens if we take all that jumbled mess that we just discussed, start plugging shit into other stuff in the back panel? Now, what happens, you ask? Well, one of the best ways to find out is to just do it. And so with Thor, one thing Thor has that is unique to this synthesizer, among Reason's massive Rolodex of devices, is that you can run audio, literally audio, into the synthesizer. Normally it's just control voltage. It is so you're sending basically little beeps from other synths to tell other synths to do a thing that you've taught it, that you've programmed it to do. And that's what CV is. It's not curricula vitae. It is control voltage. But as you can see, we have an audio input here. So what's interesting about that is, say, I can take the audio output of an auxiliary. An auxiliary? I have a free output here off this guy. I never even knew that was there. I can just plug it right on. Where does that go? That's a very good question. If memory serves, sometimes it does not, it goes through filter number 3. So we're going to flip it back around. This is filter number 3. In order to get that sound to pop up, we got to go to, excuse me here. Oh yes, the audio input. What? Oh, we get 4 now. This changed. This stuff has changed. That's cool. I lied. It used to be just 1. If I'm wrong, leave a diatribe in the comments so I can have something to read. Indeed. I thought that looked funny that it says 4 audio inputs, but here we are. That's rad. Maybe I'm getting it confused with where it can go. That's quite a possibility. So we're going to go all the way back down to our audio inputs. We had that in what? Sorry, I just looked at it. 1. Okay, so it's in 1. We're going to take audio input number 1 and see where we can put it off to. Huh. Are you telling me? That's wild. Yeah, so it has matching inputs and outputs now. I'm kind of geeking out here because this is a design change on a synthesizer that I feel like I, up until this very moment, knew backwards and forwards. If this is something that has always been in this design, I have been led astray, my friends. And I should just give myself a very bad Yelp review for not knowing about this. And we'll see why. We'll see why these features are really kind of robust. Because what this does is this becomes a gigantic effects device on top of being a synthesizer. And all of those utilities that we were talking about with the signal flow can be manipulated by external audio And we can also take all this stuff and manipulate said external audio in really fun and creative ways. And I'm going to do an experiment to prove my point. Well, I'm going to do an experiment to see how wrong I am. All right. Let's go over to the instruments and get ourselves a Dr. Rex. Where are you, Rex? Boo. Oh, yeah. I'm starting to get tired. This is good because I'm losing my place. Noise effects. Nah, maybe. Polyphonic. Oh, because I'm not looking at the sound effect. Is it a player? Am I dumb? Dr. X, show yourself. No, not a player. So what a Dr. X. Oh, it's right up top, of course. Hey, listen, chat. Hey, chat, listen. Um, so here it is. So what this device does is you can take a sample. You can have it chopped up in such a way that it is subdividing everything that happens in that sample into little slices. And what that means is then you can replay that sample and or loop at any tempo because it will automatically quantize it to match. You won't have audio artifacting necessarily because the sample has been dismantled and reapplied. It's very cool. Very legal and very cool. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag this on over here. Fine, I'll do it right there. You hold down Shift. Fuck. Okay. I kind of feel like I want to do that again. Theoretically, when you hold down Shift, it won't auto route. Well, maybe not in the drag and drop situation. Maybe that's what it is. All kinds of great new stuff. The idea being is that I didn't actually want to have that auto routed. And here's why. Hold up. What the fuck keeps happening? I didn't ask it to do. That's what's happening. Oh, I see. It auto routed because it thought that I was trying to replace the Thor. That's so stupid. Not what I wanted to have happen. Apple Z, Apple Z, and Apple Z. Okay, so here's the Thor. I want this to not replace it. So what I'm going to do is stick it under right there. Okay. I held down Shift this time, so watch. Look. Oh, yeah. Fucking on it, bro. All right. Now, why are we doing this? What I want to demonstrate here is that you can take this really awesome, fantastically lovely sample player and run it into this polyphonic synthesizer for hilarious results that will scare it'll scare someone. You see, I know I'm getting less clever, which means that hopefully I will fade and sleep and be dead. I mean, just sleep. All right, let's just make some sounds. I'm going to go shopping here for any old Rex. So, got so many to choose from. Percussion loops, sure. Literally thousands. Just try to grab something that doesn't really suck. Da 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 da. Dexter. Excuse me. That reminds me of the Dexter theme. Ooh. Yeah. That's awesome. I really love that loop. That's amazing. I've never heard it before. It is a staff pick by Propellerhead. I keep saying Propellerhead. Reason Studios, I'm so sorry. I'm just that old school. They used to be called Propellerhead, but then they switched their name to Reason Studios. And I still love them. And if I could learn Swedish, I would totally move to Sweden and live on their doorstep and make patches in exchange for food. All right. So we have this awesome thing. Now, it's not plugged in. So when we run it, we're going to hear a damn thing. But that's why we didn't have it plugged in, because we're going to take the output of this and run it into 3 and 4. Now, what happens when we go over to the programmer to audio input, say number 3, and tell it to go somewhere? This is not a rhetorical question. I am not actually sure. If we wanted to just hear it straight away, we could send it to filter 3. Left and right in. This is what I was remembering. Say left in. Sure. This filter in the olden days was the only one to have the audio input. Maybe that's where I'm getting my wires crossed. In any case, we're going to throw a comb filter on it. Come back down. Yeah. We're going to go back down to the audio input to number 4. We're going to take that and then, excuse me, map it all over to filter 3's right in. Now, turn this up so we get, we're basically telling the program to deliver that amount of signal. And because the comb filter is in this chain, which does eventually hit our ears, theoretically, when I press play, we will hear something. Oh shit! There it is. Now what's fun about that is because we're just getting started with this. And I'm going to turn this up. I'm going to have it max. Well, not that max. You can hear how there's not much happening with the signal flow being kind of weird, but we'll fix that. Yeah, already messing with the comb filter. All right, now let's take our little unsung hero, LFO2, that lives over here in this dark corner. He gets passed over. LFO2 on the Thor is it's just like an extra nipple. You know, it's nice to have for the stimulation, but you always forget it's there. It sounds terrible, by the way. Anyway, I'm going to set this to a tempo sync. I'm realizing you probably can't hear what I'm saying, so I'm going to bring this down just a tad. I'm going to set the LFO to a tempo sync here, which is currently at 2/4. We're going to make it hopefully groove with the 16th note pop that's happening with this session groove. And we're going to change the wave that it produces to this. Kind of looks like a dorsal fin. I want to call it a triangle wave, but it's not. It's like a swoop. I don't know why it bothers me. But it is one of my favorite waveforms on this device. Okay. Now, so we have, you can already hear the comb filter starting to do some pretty fun modulation here, but we are just getting started. So I'm going to take LFO2, and I'm going to assign it to ooh, that would be rude. Back to LFO1, right? Now, this is modulating LFO1's rate, which is also affecting the pan. So you should be hearing it pan a lot. But that's kind of dumb. Let's do something different. Yeah. Filter 3, frequency mod. Oh yeah. So you hear the frequency modulation. This is one of the first things we talked about. So what's happening is that as the signal is sweeping across the frequency band, the amount of resonance and modulation that's happening where that filter is disturbing it so much. That's how we get these weird kind of bloopy laser sounds. I'm sure there's a finer, more eloquent way of putting it, but it's one of the coolest things to really exploit when you're trying to make people trip on dance floor. Not trip, but like hallucinate. Yeah, I'm not loving the pan anymore, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And let's put it the frequency. Turn off the tempo sync. And make this all wacky. Now, turn up the drive here. I'm going to turn this up a bit. We're getting, it's fading in and out a bit, which is okay. That's probably because left, right. All right, that's fine. But yeah, it's the filter frequency. That's why. So as it's sweeping across the filter, it's gonna sound choked out and then less. So that's more fun when you have the resonance cranked up, as you'll see here. Makes it sound wet. This is how Ben Burt got R2-D2 to sound so sympathetic. And you hear those little cheeps? That is a discount R2-D2, but the principles are the same. Fun, right? Now, like I said, I think I'm going to just spend the rest of this, whatever this is, absolutely mutilating this beat. Because we still haven't gotten to the back panel. Alright. Now we're going to drop in a Foreman filter. Oh boy. We're going to send the other oscillators through this. what happens when we play the keyboard. Forgot about that, right? Yeah, maybe not the format, actually. Let's do something a little bit less aggressive. So that's our delay, which is all kinds of weird. What I'm going to try doing is taking the slice outputs from this here beat we're hearing and try plugging it into the Thor in random places. Do modulation input, say on filters. Okay, it doesn't like that. Rather than shorting out the equipment, it just says, yeah, that's just fine. I think slice output would actually be audio too, which has its own. So that's a story for another day. Mod output for 1. Well, can't go wrong with it. So I'm gonna stick that LFO. Oh, that could be rude. On the modulation wheel, we don't even know what the mod wheel is doing yet, so. I think we're gonna put it on the filter frequency. We're gonna take the gate output, and a gate is exactly what it sounds like. It is shutting the door or opening the door on the audio signal. Very, very easy to understand, like a gate shutting behind you. And you'll hear gates a lot in trance. Sounds like stuttering. You take this gate. Oh, the amp level would be. Okay. Now we want to go back down here and see what the gate. I'm sorry. The LFO we're doing. This LFO is not up to much. We're going to change that right now. It's not even on. Excuse me. Yeah. Ooh. Huh. Oh yeah, that's fun. Now, I think we're gonna turn up the filter a little bit. All right, and then we're gonna take. Where the fetch did I put? I just said fetch. More than I promised. Okay. Oh, this is fun. We take the. We were talking about filters earlier. I mentioned a band, or rather band and noise, right? So you imagine a frequency band. So you're turning the dial and it's sweeping across the band. Visualize that, right? So with filters, we have low pass and high pass, which is exactly what it sounds like. A low pass filter is going to let the low sounds go by, and a high pass filter is going to let the high sounds go by. So this is a low pass filter. It just sort of made all the sounds go away. It has passed all the low sounds. As we bring it back up, it opens up. And so we can turn on the high pass to see the opposite. Now only the high sounds. Let me bring that back down. Now, we have a bandpass, which is the band. It's just wherever you tune that dial, right? So the using bandpass filters and having stuff modulate them on a signal when you're making dance music is so tight. I could write a book about this technique just on it, though. Because what you're doing is you're keeping the character of the sound intact. And you're getting to see most of it. You're getting to hear most of it. But your ear's not really noticing it. It's like someone getting naked from the belly button outwards. It's uncanny. I don't know how a better way to describe that, but we have the bandpass filter going, right? So you can hear how that oscillation is just kind of, ooh, right? Well, now, with the power of low frequency oscillators, I'm going to take this modulation output from, what is it? LFO2, the little belly button that couldn't take LFO2, and I'm going to just slap that right on in here to the filter cutoff. Oh, getting dirty now. As the rate's all cranked up. And it's not going to sound logical because this is just a random ass waveform. If I put it on like a square or a triangle, you'll be able to like, oh, sine wave. It's more like rippling water. And just slow it down, it becomes more comprehensible. These types of modulations are great when you're doing breakdowns and people are like, wait, what's happening to the beat, man? And you start to fuck with them. Wait, good. Wait, where am I supposed to be dancing now? What's happening? We can just start cranking up all the other things here too. Oh, I want to flip it back around. God, it's already sounding so fun. Like, obviously you wouldn't want to do this for a prolonged amount of time. But I'm seeing an oscillator pitch knob here, and that gives me a big idea. Oh yes. We're going to take the global envelope of the Thor. The global envelope lives right here. This is this series of knobs that dictates the attack, decay, sustain, and release of the entire globe. Well, let's see what I mean. I'm gonna loop it. Turn on the tempo sync. Bring up that attack. Bring up that. Hold. Bring up the decay. And let that release just gone. Yeah, that's the ticket. Alright, so now that global envelope is sending that goofy ass signal. We're gonna send that goofy ass signal all the way down to the oscillator pitch. Uh-oh. Not as goofy as I wanted it to be. You're not. We can make it goofier. Oh yeah, I know why. No gate trigger, no tempo sync. Alright, now it's getting a little weird. Alright. I'll take the global envelope and stick that on LF2 rate. I'll take that LF2 rate. Let's stick that on. What do we have going out again? I'm getting tired. The filter envelope. It's LFO2, so that's already modulating something out here. Filter frequency, the best choice for chaos. Alright, so we're going to take this LFO2 rate and then send that out to the filter, filter frequency. Crank that up. Uh-oh. I'm going to take that. Take filter frequency 1. Filter 1. Set that. This is so stupid. And filter 2's frequency. We're going to take filter 2's frequency, and we're going to have that go to LFO1's rate. Crank that up. Alright. So you're seeming to get the idea of how limitless this platform is. I am not entirely sure I would patch anything like this on an actual synthesizer out of respect for the device. But the good folks at Reason Studios were like, they know theoretically how it should work. And you're not going to make a program that just breaks because you plugged in the wrong thing. That would be very stupid. I want to see how far this can go. So I'm going to go back all the way down here to our FM. Yes, I'm getting tired, so this is good. The sleep is going to be very weird. Now, let's not forget we have this. My goodness. Okay, we gotta bring it all down. Sorry about that. So this is what happens when you let things run amok for a while. I forgot to put the loop on. 1 sec. How's your day going? I hope you're having a beautiful day or night, wherever you find this video, your platform of choice. YouTube.com. Oops, I mean to record. That's all right. But now I'm gonna just set that on loop, and we're gonna get the levels kind of dialed back so we really get that beat chugging through this one. Oh no, we didn't want that to happen. So I like having, you don't have to have all the windows nested like this. See how it's all nested together? That's nice if you have patience. I do not. I like to have each window have its own Panamera. Okay, there's our beautiful mixer, which is steel redlining. We were talking about bandpass filters earlier. I love them so much, I even put one as an insert here. Crank that up. Make sure this is working, actually. No, I actually don't trust that bandpass. Oh, yeah, I guess I do. It's fine. I don't trust that patch. Alright. Yeah, let's get back to making that. We wanna be molesting that drum sound. Molest is a bad word, I'm sorry. It's not the word I meant, but like, yeah, we wanna be messing with it. And the best way I can think of doing that is turning down all this goofy shit. Turning this up. So, it's not eerie music, it's just awful. But I want you to imagine a world where you sat down and rather than explaining all this stuff in a way that's just kind of like illustrating functions and fucking around and finding out, which is a great way to learn. And it's part of learning, and it's something that we do on a great journey as we get into synthesis. But I want you to imagine that day where you have a confident control and understanding of how you shape sounds, how you can hear a timbre in someone else's track or a sound in nature and know exactly how to sit down and recreate it. When I have those moments, I just cannot describe how enriching that is. I'm at a show and a great artist is playing some of their original techno, and it's like not just enjoying the music on a spiritual level, because obviously that comes first, but then there's this all-consuming intellectual stimulation that I don't notice. It doesn't distract me out of it. It inspires me. So the best compliment I give to a lot of great DJs and producers is that I leave their show early. And I do apologize. It's really quite a strange practice. But when I say, I'm sorry, I have to go, you've made me too inspired, no one's ever been really upset. I think it's one of the best compliments you can give to someone else. And with that said, I'm going to go turn in. I've been David Anderson Kirk. You've been watching me not sleep. I hope you've learned something today about synthesis and this wonderful program, Reason. You can find Reason online at reasonstudios.com, or you can go to Sweden, which is sounding really nice. And with that, I would like to say thanks again. Don't forget to encourage each other, hold each other up, love the people around you, stay curious, and collaborate. Always, always collaborate.